Climate change comes because we're emitting lots of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and it causes the Earth to heat up. We need to get our carbon emissions down. So I think of it mathematically. We start with the number of people. Each of us is using services that require energy, like heating or air conditioning, transport. And so we have how much energy each of those services use, and then we have how much carbon comes out for each unit of energy. So once you multiply those together, that's where you get about 36 billion tons of CO2 being emitted. To make that come out to a number about zero, how are we going to change the four factors? The first one, population, that's going up. We're going to get to over 9 billion this century. On services per person, yes, rich countries can use a bit less, but because places like India and Africa, who still don't have air conditioning and refrigeration, actually we want this number to go up. We want people to have modern lifestyles, and so the total services will increase. Now this next factor, the energy used per service, their innovation is going to help. We'll get this down, but only by about a factor of 2 or so. And so that leaves our final factor, CO2 per unit of energy. That's where we're going to have to do something super dramatic. We're going to have to use sources of energy that emit no carbon dioxide to get from 36 billion over here down to a very, very small number and avoid catastrophic climate change. The U.S. government spends about $5 billion a year on energy research. I decided that looking at what we spend on gasoline might be an interesting comparison to see how serious we are about energy research. We take the number of cars on the road, 250 million cars. You probably fill up every 10 days or so. We've got 25 million fill-ups per day. Now, let's say your car holds 13 gallons. That's 325 million gallons every day. The price has been going down, but still about $2.50. And so we get about 813 million per day on gasoline. Multiply by 7, and we get close to 6 billion. The actual number's about 6.4 billion. So this is very close, but the result is pretty stunning. We spend more in a week on gasoline here than we spend on the entire energy research budget. Well, the modern lifestyles we lead depend on a huge amount of energy. The fact that we can make steel, that we have cars, air conditioning, heating, cooking, that's all based on energy. If you could change the price of one thing to really lift up the lives of the poorest people everywhere, it would be the price of energy. They can get to their jobs, they can buy fertilizer, they can have lights at night. The energy miracle that's allowed for modern civilization is primarily based on hydrocarbons. That is coal, gasoline, natural gas. And as we burn that and release that, it heats up the atmosphere, and that heating changes the climate in a way that's a terrible threat to particularly the poorest people on the planet. What we need to do is fund the kind of researchers who are looking at the early stages of these problems. If we look at where we've had huge success in the past, the government's been there to fund the basic research. That was true for the digital revolution, where government contracts led to the internet. We need the basic research, but we have to pair that with people who are willing to fund high-risk breakthrough energy companies. And that formula will accelerate the innovation at the research level, accelerate the risk-taking, and that's what gives us a chance of having a solution that really let us not have to give up energy usage and yet not damage the environment. I am optimistic. I think we will get the increased investments. If we come together, really realize what solves the problem, then we will make the breakthroughs. We've emitted enough greenhouse gas that the weather for these poor farmers, particularly in equatorial regions, including Africa, they're going to have a tougher time. So helping them out by having better seeds, having fertilizer credit so they're more productive, that will lift them up in a way so that even if there are more bad years in terms of the weather, the kind of tough situation they're in, they will have stored enough or saved enough that that doesn't mean starvation.
My name is Wilproda. I'm a small farmer in Kenya. This year, the rain came late. If the weather continues to change, there will be hunger. But I am ready for these changes. I have grown more food because I have quality seed and fertilizer. This is my extension officer. She trains me how to farm. Before, this is my harvest. Now, this is my harvest. Before, my family was hungry. Now we have enough food and we are happy. With the extra money from my harvest, I bought this car. I bought these chickens. I can send my 3 children to school. Maybe my farm is small, but my dream is big.